The video opens with a shaky handheld shot of the kitchen counter, where a turkey is being brined in a plastic tub. Someone off-camera bumps into the counter, and a low curse slips out before the camera steadies. Eric clears his throat loudly, steps in a frame, and forces an exhausted half-smile that never reaches his eyes. "Happy Thanksgiving, everybody," he says, rubbing his palms together like someone trying to heat their hands over a campfire. "Hope y'all are doing great. Hope you're with family. Hope you're eating good. We're over here smoking a turkey, family get-together, all that." He gestures toward the backyard through the window. A smoker emits a thick line of steam that curls upward like a question mark. Eric sighs through his nose, clearly thinking about something else entirely. "So listen," he continues. "I wasn't going to make a video today. I wasn't going to talk about any of this, honestly. It's a holiday. But the phone keeps ringing, the messages keep coming, and everybody wants the same thing. Eric, say something about the Whittakers." He pauses a moment, letting that hang. He looks down, almost sheepishly, as if debating whether he should keep going. "They're still on everybody's mind," he says. "I get that. Trust me, I get that more than anyone. I lived with that story for months. I ate, slept, breathed everything about that family. And I know a lot of folks think I'm out of the picture now, or that I walked away, or that I never cared. But here's the truth, because at least today, I feel like telling the truth. I think about them every single day." A long exhale. "I think about Betty. I think about Larry. I think about the 3 that got taken. I think about the whole mess that came after. And I know what folks want from me right now. They want guarantees. They want an update. They want the real story. But here's the thing. There ain't nothing real about the way everybody's been twisting this." He runs a hand through his hair, and for a moment he looks older than he is, like someone who's been carrying a backpack full of bricks for months. "Some of y'all have been brutal," he mutters. "The videos, the accusations, the speculation, it's crazy. We got people online trying to solve crimes that don't exist, people trying to force drama where there wasn't any until y'all made it. And here I am being told I'm the cause of everything that went wrong every single day." He shakes his head. Listen," he says, gesturing toward the camera as if he's trying to pull the viewer closer. "I didn't break up that family. Everybody keeps saying it. Everybody keeps typing it. Everybody keeps repeating it. But I'm telling you right now, no matter what anybody online is spinning, I've got nothing to hide. I didn't do what these rumor mill people are saying. I went in there to help. I went in there to document their lives and tell their story because it mattered. Because they mattered." He lifts his hands, palms up. "But I didn't expect what came after. None of US did. Not me, not them, not the community, not APS. And I know, trust me, I know, everyone blames me for the fallout. Everyone blames Patrick. Everybody blames somebody. But blame don't fix anything." A faint knock at the door distracts him. Voices call from the other room. He waves them off briefly. "I'll be out in a second," he says before turning back to the camera. "So let me get a why I even hit record. Because I need to say something to the Whittakers today. Whether they see this or not. Whether they even care to hear it. I'm going to say it anyway." He clears his throat, straightens his posture, and stares directly into the lens. "I hope you're safe. I hope you're together. I hope you're warm. And I hope you're sitting around a table with food on it. Even if it ain't perfect, even if it ain't what you're used to. But I hope you have something. Because you deserve something. All of you." He swallows, eyes flicking to the side for a moment before he continues. "And this part is for you, Betty. Because I know you're hearing things, stuff people online are tossing around like they know what they're talking about." His voice softens. "You took care of everybody you could. For decades. You didn't abandon anyone. You didn't neglect anyone. You didn't ask for your life to become a circus. You didn't ask for people to show up at your porch with cameras. You didn't ask for the whole internet to suddenly know your name." A deep sigh. "And Larry, I know you're mad. I know you're frustrated. I know you want answers and you want things to make sense, and nothing makes sense right now. But brother, at least for today, I hope you breathe. I hope you sit and enjoy your meal and know that you ain't forgot. He rubs his hands again and looks down briefly before continuing. And Timmy, Lorraine, Ray, if you're seeing this somehow, if somebody plays this for you, I want you to know nobody forgot about you. People all over the world have been asking about you. People care about you. People are fighting to get answers about where you are and how you're doing. You're not invisible. Not anymore. And maybe things didn't go how they were supposed to go, but that doesn't mean your story doesn't matter. He leans in slightly. Now, I want to make something real clear, he says. There's a lot of folks trying to turn this whole thing into a soap opera. There's a lot of folks going online saying they know things they don't. There's drama. There's noise. There's nonsense. But take today, just today, and forget all that. Forget the fights. Forget the rumors. Forget who said what about who. He pauses. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, because life is short, and family, whatever shape it's in, is all that matters. A loud voice from the other room calls again. Eric doesn't turn this time. One more thing, he says, because I know y'all are going to ask about it anyway. Yes, I reached out to my attorney. Yes, Larry and Betty talked to him. And yes, he's helping them. No, I'm not going into details today. Not on Thanksgiving. This is not the video for that. We'll talk about it when it's time, when everything is settled, when everything is clear, when everything is in writing. He taps the countertop lightly, as if sealing the statement. But no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody claims, I have not walked away from this. I have not ignored them, and I'm not turning my back on them. I don't care how many people online yell otherwise. He finally takes a long breath, steadies himself, and softens his tone. Okay, that's all I wanted to say today. I hope the Whittakers hear this. I hope they know I'm thinking about them. And I hope everybody watching remembers that Thanksgiving ain't just about food. It's about gratitude, forgiveness, and trying your best even when everything around you is falling apart. He reaches toward the camera. I'll talk more later. For now, happy Thanksgiving. The screen goes black. Then, a final line appears as a comment call. Comment below what you'd say to the Whittaker family today. The camera clicks on again later in the evening. The lighting is dimmer this time. Just the orange-yellow glow of a stovetop bulb and a soft light coming from the adjoining room. The turkey has been carved. The counters are cluttered. Voices hum faintly behind the wall. Laughter. Plates clinking. Family. Eric sits alone at the table, elbows resting on the wood, staring at the camera with a tired, almost hollow look, like someone who's been replaying things in his mind all day and still hasn't figured out where to put the pieces. Okay, he mutters, rubbing his forehead. So, I wasn't going to come back on here tonight. But after that last video, my phone's been blowing up again. I got messages, missed calls, emails, comments, everything. People asking what I meant earlier. Asking if I'm hiding something. Asking why I even mention attorneys or reaching out. He leans back and crosses his arms. I didn't think I needed to explain myself today, but apparently I do. A long pause. So let's get into it. He taps the table twice, more to prepare himself than anything else. First off, I'm going to say this again, because apparently some folks heard what they wanted to hear instead of what I actually said. I didn't come online today to stir anything up. I didn't come online to start drama, accuse anybody, defend myself, or throw shade. I came on because it's Thanksgiving, and even after everything that's happened, the Whittakers deserve a message of warmth, not silence. He takes a slow breath. But since we're here, and since everybody and their cousin is now asking questions like it's interrogation day at the county jail, let me make a few things clear. He holds up one finger. One, you don't just snap your fingers and fix a legal mess. That's not how the world works. That's not how attorneys work. That's not how APS works. Everybody keeps saying, well, If you care so much, Eric, why don't you just get them back home? He scoffs. I wish it was that easy. I wish I could walk down to their building and say, give them back. But it doesn't work like that. And anybody who says it does is either lying or doesn't understand how any of this operates. He lifts his second finger. 2. Yes, there were agreements. Yes, there were conversations. Yes, there were promises. And yes, people wanted to come on here waving receipts and documents and showing the whole internet what happened. But this ain't a circus show. This isn't some TV courtroom where Judge Judy yells and then we all walk out clean. He leans forward. This involves real people, fragile people, people with disabilities, people who've already been dragged through the mud enough. I'm not plastering their private business online. Not on Thanksgiving. Not any day. His tone sharpens, but not with anger, more like conviction. I'm not doing that to them. He holds up a third finger. 3. Yes, the Whittakers reached out to my attorney. And before anybody twists it into something it's not, they reached out. They asked questions. They needed clarity. They wanted to understand what was going on. They wanted to know what options they had. My attorney didn't go hunting them down. They came to him because they weren't getting answers anywhere else. Eric exhales slowly. And that tells me everything I need to know about how lost they're feeling right now. He shifts in his seat, finally settling into a calmer presence. I want you to understand something. Betty and Larry aren't villains. They're not masterminds of anything. They're elderly people in a town where resources are scarce, education is limited, and basic survival is a daily job. Everything they've ever done, they've done the same way for decades. He presses his palms flat on the table. You take people like that and suddenly yank half their world away without any preparation, without any understanding, without any proper support, and you're going to see shock, confusion, fear, anger. That's human. He shakes his head. And instead of patience, instead of help, they've had cameras in their face, rumors swirling around them, and strangers online deciding what's true and what's not. His voice drops quieter now. I contributed to that. I own that. And that's why I'm still here trying to make this right. The room grows louder behind him, clattering dishes, a burst of laughter, someone shouting from the living room. Eric glances over his shoulder briefly before turning back. Let me tell you what really got me today, he says. After I posted that message, I had dozens of people sending me screenshots and links to videos where creators are saying they know why APS stepped in. They know what the real problem was. They know that this was about abuse or neglect or some big scandal. He shakes his head again. No. His jaw tightens. You'll think you know, but you don't. He taps his temple with 2 fingers. I know because I was there. I know who made calls. I know what APS asked for. I know what happened before they took anyone. I know what was said afterwards. And I know what wasn't said. His voice lowers again, almost like he's talking to himself. And I know what I regret. A beat passes before he continues. APS didn't step in because somebody suddenly discovered a new crime after 70 years. That's not what happened. They stepped in because the pressure exploded online. Because people kept driving to that property, filming without permission, sharing their location, posting their address, stirring panic. He raises a brow. You think the system wasn't watching all that? You think they weren't listening to the phone calls pouring in? The complaints? The reports from strangers who never met the family, but claimed to know what was happening. He motions toward the air as if warding off imaginary accusations. That's what forced the hand. You mix online chaos with local government oversight and a fragile family who doesn't understand how fast social media can burn a house down. And yeah, you get intervention. His shoulders slump slightly. And I'll tell you something else. He looks directly into the lens. Betty and Larry didn't even understand why it happened. They still don't. They just know people they loved disappeared overnight. His voice wavers for a moment before steadying again. And that's why I said what I said earlier. I'm not abandoning them. I'm not ignoring them. I'm not shrugging off what happened. I'm not pretending I don't have a role in this mess. He steeples his fingers. I'm trying to navigate a situation that got way out of control. I'm trying to deal with people who don't trust me, people who blame me, people who want answers I legally can't give, and people who think I owe them explanations even though they weren't there for any of it. He pauses. But you know what? I'm still here anyway. Because the people who deserve answers, the only ones who truly do, are the Whittakers. He sighs, and they're getting them. Slowly, carefully, properly. Voices from the other room drift louder. Someone calls his name. He gives a tired smile and shakes his head. I guess they're ready for dessert, he mutters. Pumpkin pie waits for no man. He straightens slightly. But before I go, I want to say one last thing. He leans in, speaking with a softer, gentler tone than before. Timmy, if this ever reaches you somehow, you're not forgotten. And you're not alone. I don't care what's said about me. I don't care what's said about this situation. I just want you safe. That's it. He pauses. And Lorraine, Ray, I don't know where you were tonight, but I hope you're eating well. I hope someone made sure you had something warm. And I hope you know people out here are fighting for you. Not to exploit you, not to film you, not to make money off you, but to make sure you're okay. He nods to himself. That's all that's ever mattered. Another voice calls again. Eric stands, but before he reaches for the camera, he stops and gives one final look. For those watching, don't twist this. Don't spin this. Don't turn this into another battlefield. Just understand that today is about gratitude. And regardless of everything, I'm grateful. I'm grateful they're alive. I'm grateful they're being cared for. I'm grateful people still care. He reaches toward the lens. I'll talk more later. The screen cuts to black. One final white line prompt appears. Comment below. Do you think the Whittakers will ever be reunited? The screen fades back in the next morning. Soft daylight spills through the blinds, giving everything a cold, washed-out look. Eric sits in the same chair, but his posture is stiffer today. Less Thanksgiving warmth, more I woke up to chaos. He rubs his eyes and exhales sharply. Well, he mutters, I guess I should have known that one Thanksgiving message wasn't going to calm anything down. He shifts forward. I woke up to a whole different storm this morning. People misquoting me. People accusing me of playing victim. People saying I'm using the holiday to manipulate the story. And some folks even saying that I'm trying to cover up the truth or distract from things. He leans back and folds his arms. I'm not hiding from anybody today. I'll address every single thing. He nods once, as if giving himself permission to continue. Let's start with this accusation that I'm somehow using my attorney as a shield. A lot of people said, Eric, if you didn't do anything wrong, why do you need a lawyer? He scoffs. Because when you're dealing with APS, financial agreements, public accusations, and hundreds of thousands of people watching your every move, you either get a lawyer or you get buried. Simple as that. He points to the camera, and anyone pretending they'd handle this mess without legal help is lying to themselves. He lowers his hand, eyes narrowing with focus. But here's what people don't realize. That lawyer isn't for my protection. He wasn't brought in to keep me out of trouble. He's there because the Whittakers needed someone who could talk to APS, to clarify paperwork, to review agreements, and to explain consequences without confusing them more. He sighs. And trust me, they are confused. They have been since day one. He pulls in a breath and continues. Now let me talk about something else that's been thrown at me since last night. People want to know why I said APS wasn't going to give them answers, and why implied things didn't happen the way social media claims they did. He raises a brow. You want the truth? Here it is. He holds up a hand. APS doesn't work off YouTube videos. They don't work off rumors. They don't work off hearsay. They work off documented concerns, in-person evaluations, mandatory reporter calls, and living conditions. That's what they look at. He gestures toward the table. I know people found it entertaining to pretend that APS swooped in because of a particular creator. I know some people wanted that narrative because it fits their outrage. He shakes his head. But APS didn't step in overnight because of one guy. It built up over time. The visits, the reports, the photos, the calls, the crowds, the fact that strangers kept showing up uninvited. The fact that the house was filmed so many times it practically became a public exhibit. He leans forward again. Was I part of that? Yes, I own that. A beat. But I'm not the only one. And pretending otherwise is dishonest. The room grows quiet for a moment as Eric gathers his thoughts. Let's get into another thing people keep twisting. This whole idea that I'm trying to distance myself from what happened or that I'm blaming others to protect myself. He shakes his head firmly. No, I said what I said last night, and I meant it. I played a part in the escalation. I gave this story attention. I went there with good intentions. But good intentions don't excuse outcomes. He pauses. But I also want something understood because people are conveniently ignoring this. His voice deepens. I didn't break into their home. I didn't force them into videos. I didn't lock them into agreements they didn't understand. I didn't drag them through humiliation. I didn't monetize them without giving them something back. I didn't film them while they were vulnerable or confused. He raises a hand to stop hypothetical rebuttals. And before someone comments, "Oh, Eric, yes you did. Let me be clear. I have receipts for everything I ever did with them. Agreements, payments, consent, all of it. And I'm not going to plaster their personal documents online just to satisfy strangers." His eyes harden slightly. If people truly want justice for the Whittakers, they'll focus on accountability, not spectacle. He takes a breath and shifts tone. Now, let's address the Thanksgiving message directly. He clasps his hands together. Some people got it. Some people appreciated it. Some people ignored the drama and took it for what it was, a sincere message on a holiday. He nods. But others, oh man, others twisted that message into something ugly. They said I was guilt-tripping. They said I was playing savior. They said I was trying to manipulate the narrative again. They said I was weaponizing affection. He laughs once, humorless. I guess you can't wish a family a happy Thanksgiving without being accused of emotional warfare these days. He leans in, calmer now. My message wasn't for the public. It was for them. For Timmy. For Lorraine. For Ray. For Betty. For Larry. For their little circle that used to feel unbreakable. He taps the table softly. For decades, no holiday passed without them all being under the same roof. Even if the food was simple. Even if the house wasn't perfect. Even if life was hard. His voice softens. So yeah, I sent a Thanksgiving message because I know, no matter what people say, that losing that tradition, that routine, that closeness broke something inside that family. He glances toward the window as if imagining the holler. They didn't have a Thanksgiving table last night. No porch gathering. No laughter. No Ray pacing around. No Timmy staring out toward the road. No Lorraine rocking beside Betty. It was just silence in a house that used to be full. He looks back at the camera, and that doesn't sit right with me. He sits straighter, ready to move to the next topic. Now let's talk about something that's being whispered around like it's breaking news. The allegation that the Whittakers were supposed to have money by now and haven't seen a cent. He holds up a palm. I'm going to make this simple. A beat. There was money made. There were agreements. There were conversations about how much they'd receive. And yes, some people still owe them. His eyes narrow slightly, but he doesn't name names. That's not rumor. That's not speculation. That's fact. He points downward. And I'm not the one holding it. He pauses. I have nothing to hide on that front. He continues. I know people have been screaming online for me to call out creators or point fingers, but I'm not naming names publicly. I'm not dragging every detail out into the open, not because I'm protecting anybody, but because the Whittakers are already dealing with enough chaos. They don't need another online war on their behalf. He sighs. I've handled what I needed to handle, and my attorney is handling the rest. He clears his throat. But let's refocus again on what people really want to know. Will the family be reunited? Will APS return them? Should they return? Can they return? He folds his hands. I'm going to answer this honestly, even if people don't like the answer. A pause. They will not be reunited anytime soon. The air seems to thicken with the weight of his words. I know that hurts people to hear. It hurts me to say. But APS isn't just going to reverse a decision because the internet wants a feel-good ending. That's not how it works. They need documented proof of improvement. They need safety guarantees. They need stable conditions. He taps the table rhythmically. And right now, that doesn't exist. Another pause. But that doesn't mean it never will. He nods toward the camera, firm. Betty and Larry can absolutely regain some level of contact, maybe even visits, if certain steps are taken. Steps that involve cleaning, repairs, documentation, doctor evaluations, therapy reports, and supervised communication. He leans in slightly. And guess what? Some of those steps are already happening. He lets that linger. No, they're not back together. No, the system hasn't changed its mind. No, this isn't easy or fast, but it is possible. It's not hopeless. He nods again. I'm not going to lie. When APS steps in, it's usually permanent. But this is a unique case, and there are advocates behind the scenes. Real ones, not creators, not commenters. Legal advocates, medical advocates, community advocates, people who want what's best for them. He sighs, but it's softer this time, more reflective. And that brings me to another reason why I came back on camera today. He folds his arms, expression serious. People assume I'm staying involved because I want clout, because I want attention, because I want views. But the truth is a lot simpler. He breathes deeply. I care. He looks straight into the lens. And I'm not walking away from this until the Whittakers have closure, whatever form that takes. He pauses. But here's what I need people to hear loud and clear. He speaks slowly. None of it is about who gets credit. Not me. Not Patrick. Not any other creator. Not the commenters. Not the viewers. Not the media. Not the channels doing commentary. He gestures outward. It's about a family that didn't ask for this attention. A family that didn't understand the consequences. A family that trusted too easily. A family that loved each other even in the hardest circumstances. A silence settles. I'm fighting for them because somebody has to. He stands abruptly, the chair creaking behind him. He walks to the counter, picks up a cup of coffee, then returns and sits down. But let me tell you what hurts the most. He locks eyes with the camera. A lot of you say you care about the Whittakers. A lot of you say you want justice for them. But then you spend days attacking, arguing, doxing people, spreading rumors, and pushing narratives that do nothing but make the situation worse. He shakes his head. That doesn't help them. It hurts them. He leans forward again. If you care about them, stop turning their lives into entertainment. Stop fueling drama. Stop using their suffering as content. Stop pretending that dragging people online somehow helps the family. His voice rises slightly. You want to help them? Focus on solutions. Focus on clarity. Focus on stability. Focus on what gets them progress with APS, not clicks. He lets that settle before softening again. And today, I'm still sending love their way, even if they don't see this, even if they can't hear it, even if none of it reaches them. He presses a hand to his chest. I know where my heart is. He finally exhales, leaning back. I'm going to take a break for the rest of the day. Clear my head. Spend time with family. But I'll be back tomorrow with more answers. And I'll address the things I haven't touched yet. There's a lot more to say. A lot more people need to be addressed. A lot more truth needs to come out. He reaches for the camera. But not right now. The screen flickers as he presses the button. Before it cuts off, a final message appears in white text. Comment below. Do you think the Whittakers' future depends more on APS or on the people around them? The camera clicks on later that evening. The lighting is dimmer this time. A single warm lamp behind Eric casting an orange glow. He looks calmer than he did earlier, but there's a noticeable heaviness in his shoulders. All right, he begins quietly. I said I would come back tonight and close this out, and I meant that. He folds his hands on the table. There's been a lot said over the last few days, and a lot more assumed. I know the Thanksgiving message stirred up more debate than peace. And I know people are still asking the same question. What now? He pauses. So let's talk about the what now. For real. Not speculation, not rumor, not fantasy endings that people keep inventing online. His voice steadies. First of all, I want everyone to understand that the situation with the Whittakers is not something anyone can fix overnight. Not me, not creators, not neighbors, not viewers. APS made a decision, and for them to reverse course, it takes real work, documented work, repeated work, and consistent behavior over time. He lifts his eyes to the camera. That means stability. That means structure. That means Betty and Larry proving, on paper, not on video, that their environment is safe, that they can maintain cleanliness, that they can manage basic needs, and that they can abide by every guideline APS lays out. He sighs softly. I know some people want a miracle, but APS doesn't operate on miracles. They operate on evidence. He leans forward, speaking with more conviction. And despite everything, the Whittakers can get some form of contact back. Maybe not immediate full reunification, but contact, visits, calls, updates. That part is not impossible. In fact, it's already being discussed behind the scenes. He taps the table. But none of that can happen if the internet keeps throwing gasoline on every spark of drama. Every time a creator posts something wild, every time someone stirs up rumors, every time the comments explode with accusations, APS sees it. They read it. They monitor it. And it matters. He shakes his head. The internet wants to fight on their behalf, but the internet might be the biggest obstacle in their way. A beat of silence. And that brings me to something I've been thinking about all day. It's time to stop using the Whittakers as ammunition in creator feuds. It's time to stop using their pain for entertainment. It's time to stop using their name to settle scores. He looks directly into the lens. If you're going to talk about them, then talk solutions. Not chaos, not drama, not gossip. Another breath. Now about the Thanksgiving message. He sits back slightly. I meant every word I said. And I'll say again tonight, if they're watching or if someone around them is watching, I hope you had a peaceful day, even if it wasn't the Thanksgiving you're used to. I hope you were safe. I hope someone checked on you. And I hope you know that you aren't forgotten. His voice lowers into something gentler. I don't care what people think about my intentions. I don't care what spin gets put on my words. Those three, Timmy, Lorraine, and Ray, spend almost every holiday of their lives under the same roof. That routine is gone now, and I can't imagine how confusing that must feel. He pauses, choosing his next words carefully. I never wanted a Thanksgiving where the family was split into separate homes with separate caseworkers and separate sets of rules. Nobody should want that. He exhales long and slow. But this is where we are. And the only way we move forward is by dealing with the reality, not rewriting it, not sugarcoating it, and not pretending the system is going to bend just because people online demand it. He leans forward again. So here's the truth. The future of the Whittakers depends on consistency. That's it. That's the only thing APS looks for. Not internet noise. Not petitions. Not hashtags. Consistency. He raises a finger, and that starts with the people closest to them. Not creators. Not Facebook pages. Not comment sections. His gaze becomes more serious. Betty and Larry have work to do, and I don't say that with judgment. I say that with hope. Because if they can show improvement, things can change. He pauses, and before people twist that, I'm not blaming them for everything. I'm saying they have steps they need to take, and those steps aren't impossible. He shakes his head lightly. But the online fighting, the finger-pointing, the constant accusations, that only slows everything down. Another pause. People keep asking me what my role is now, and the answer is simple. His tone grounds itself. I'm not trying to be the hero. I'm not trying to be the enemy. I'm not trying to rewrite